Hello and welcome. You're listening to Start Again with Shaunna Lee, the place where you will be reminded that it's never too late and you're never too old to do the damn thing. So stick around if you're ready to vibe higher and be inspired to chase your dreams. Together, we will uncover your soul's truest desires. Now, if you're ready, let's get started. Well, hello, my friends, and welcome back. Look at me, another SimplyShaunna episode, 2 weeks in a row. So today I wanted to talk about monetizing your gifts. So, last week we talked about this whole idea of creating a second source of income and all the reasons why I think it's important and a couple different ways that you might consider doing that for yourself. But today's episode is really about how do you monetize what you are naturally good at? And secondarily, does your life purpose have to earn you money? I'll start this episode with telling you a little bit of a story. I have the ability to look at anyone in any situation and think, why the hell are they not monetizing that? And I think it's just the way my mind works. I don't, it's not good or bad, but one day, my daughter, God bless her, I love her so much, she said, why do you always do that? You don't have to monetize everything, right? And she said it in such, with such disdain, that I was like, well, hold on. And it made me really sit with it and think, why do I do that? Why do I think that we should monetize it? And it really is quite simple. It comes down to, I think a lot of people are leaving a lot of money on the table and there's plenty to go around. Why don't you have more of it for yourself? When you hear so many people talk about money in such a limited way and why don't they have more, or what they are going without because they want more money, blah, blah, blah. Listen, most people want more money. And the vast majority of those people are also leaving money on the table because they're not monetizing what they are actually good at. Now, I have a lot of opinions about a lot of things. We know this. But I think the first challenge that most people have when they think about, well, how the hell do I monetize my gifts? Is what are your gifts? What are you naturally good at? What is your list of skills that sets you apart from someone else? And I think that is, honestly, I think it's difficult for a lot of people to know what their gifts are. I mean, listen, unless you're insanely talented and you're the best, you've got this incredible singing voice, clearly, that's a gift. But for a lot of people, what they're good at kind of feels like it's under the radar. It feels like it isn't special because they're so naturally good at it that they don't realize not everyone else is good at it. And so I think that's the first challenge we have, is to know what our gifts are. First of all, it takes a certain amount of self-awareness to realize what you are good at. And we're not conditioned to toot our own horns or to stand apart from the crowd and say what we're good at, how it compares to other people. So it makes people really uncomfortable to think about, what is this thing that I'm good at that nobody else is, or most people aren't. So I think that's the first challenge. But then beyond that, I feel like a lot of people, when they sit with the what is the purpose of life question, and honestly, too many humans spend too much time contemplating this particular question because it's usually pretty simple, but it's not the same for everybody. So your purpose in life is different than mine, most likely. And the other thing is, I think we confuse our purpose in life with having to be our career. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think for a lot of people, their purpose in life is to learn joy or to heal their generational traumas so they don't hand it down to their children. I think a lot of times our purpose in life is not necessarily tied to our gifts. And so those two can be kind of confusing if you're trying to think, how do I monetize my gifts? What are my gifts? What am I good at? And what's my purpose in life? I don't think they always have to be the same thing. So first of all, we can separate them. But if you think about monetizing something that you are naturally good at, it means, this is where you hear this cliche, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. They're basically saying that same thing, right? So if you focus on turning your gift into a money-making opportunity, a second income stream, if you will, or finding a way for that gift to somehow generate income, it most likely will feel easier than a lot of the other jobs you could do. It might feel kind of like cheating. Like, listen, here's the thing. You know what my gift is? I can talk to people. I am really good at one-on-one conversations. I am okay at presenting on stage. I am okay at small talk. But what I really like to do is to have a conversation that is heartfelt, it goes deep, and we talk about the things that I think are really important. I find people insanely fascinating. I will never grow tired of hearing someone tell their story and how they got to where they are and what they've accomplished and the adversity that they've overcome. That to me is like, I could just do that all day long, every day. So what did I do? I found an avenue. And let me tell you, it wasn't like I woke up one day and said, oh, maybe I should start a podcast because it will let me hone in on my gifts. No, that's not how it worked for me. It took me a while to get here. But when I finally had the realization that this thing I'm good at can actually generate money and can actually become my full-time job, I thought, well, that kind of feels like cheating. Like all I'm going to do is talk to people all day and still pay my bills and take my kids on vacation. Like, okay, sign me up for that. And so that's where this whole episode comes from, is when we have the ability to monetize what we're naturally good at, it becomes easy, it becomes fun, and it feels less like work. And so you might be asking yourself, okay, Shauna, well, what am I good at? What is my life purpose? What are my gifts? And I have got some answers for you. Actually, it's kind of a teach a man to fish scenario. So I could very well sit down with you and ask you your birth date, and we could dig into the details. Or I could just tell you how to do it for yourself. So that's what we're talking about today, is how do you figure out what your gifts are and how do you learn to monetize that? Oh, you go back and listen to my last episode that was just me by myself. But here are a couple different ways that you can do that. Now I'm getting woo-woo. So first one is astrology. The next one is numerology. And the next one is human design. I love all of these, by the way. And I would say most people know about astrology, their sun sign, and that's all they know about themselves or what astrology is. And it really is, actually, it's quite complex and overwhelming if you allow it to be, but it really is a deep dive into who you are and within your birth chart. First of all, there's so much more than your sun sign, but I would say most people only ever go surface level when it comes to astrology. They know, okay, I'm a Gemini and this is my birthday and I don't get along with whatever the other sign is, like it's very surface level. And then we've all heard about Mercury retrograde and everyone freaks out thinking it's this really difficult thing. It's not. But what I've learned in the little bit that I've learned about astrology, so people say I know just enough to be dangerous. I go a little deeper than surface level when it comes to any one of these different facets of the woo-woo. But when it comes to astrology, what I can tell you is looking at your birth chart. First of all, you don't have to learn this for yourself. Let me just start there. This is why people specialize in this, because you can go have a single reading with an astrologer and they will tell you everything you need to know. So step one is do a quick little Google search, spend 15 minutes, look at your astrology, your numerology, and your human design. From there, which one sounds the most interesting? Then go find someone who does a reading and have them fill in the blanks. It's the fastest way to get the answers that you're looking for. However, if you're like me, you like to do everything all by yourself and you want to be taught to fish. So here we go. In astrology, there's a couple main things that you can find on your birth chart. So seriously, Google birth chart, astrology, free birth chart, all of these things. You can go find this information for free. And you're going to print it out and you're going to be like, what the fuck is this? Because it looks like alien technology. However, within that chart, you can look for a few key things. Your moon sign, your sun sign, that's the one everyone knows, and your rising sign. Look up what each one of those is. That's going to tell you a lot about what your life purpose is, what you are here to learn, where you're going. And then the other thing you can look at is your ascendant and your midheaven. I think it's midhaven. I don't know how to say the word. MC is the abbreviation. Those can also be hugely enlightening. And here's what I will tell you. So if I'm looking at my birth chart, I was born a Gemini, and that is my 8th house. Now listen, I don't actually remember what the houses mean. I don't remember what the different planets represent, but anytime I have a question, I can go over to Google and say, Gemini, 8th house, and whatever the other thing is that I was just saying. And you can go in and you will find a wealth of information from people who know all about every little detail of astrology that you don't need to know. However, the answers to your questions are there. Within your birth chart, it will tell you what are the things that you're going to come into this life naturally being good at. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? There's always, you hear a lot of shadow side. What are the shadows of each of those different elements? Because there's always something for us to learn. And the purpose, I'm just going to give you the spoiler, is that the purpose of your life is to grow and evolve and to learn how to be happy. But within that, we always want to know, well, what would be the easiest job? Or how should I, because if you're sitting in your 9 to 5 and you hate it, you would like to know what you could do that would feel easier and more fun. Your birth chart is a great place to start. It can walk you through a bunch of those different things kind of under the surface, and it'll explain to you why certain relationships didn't work out. It'll explain to you why you are having the same patterns in your life. But again, I think getting someone to do a reading for you is key, because it is quite complex and can be difficult to decipher. Okay, listen. Are you struggling to find what your true purpose really is? You should try journaling. At the very least, it will get you to a better feeling place than where you are right now. I've created a set of journal prompts to get you on your way to discovering who you truly are and where you want to go from here. My free download is called Journal Yourself to Joy, and it's available at ShaunnaLee.com under Free Stuff. These are my tried and true journal prompts that will raise your energy, increase your positivity, and brighten your day. Download yours today. So next, I want to talk about numerology. Now, a lot of time, there's messages and numbers is what I'm going to tell you when it comes to numerology. And I was just diving into this with my daughter earlier today. There's a couple different things when it comes to numerology. If you want to figure out what your life path number is, you take your birthday. By the way, I'm June 18th, 1975, just so you can all say happy birthday to me when June rolls around. And if you add up 06181975, those are the numbers in my birthday. You add them all up, you are going to get the number 10. And then if you add the 1 and the 0, it becomes a 1. I am a life path 1. When it comes to numerology, that's how you figure out what your life path is. I will tell you that is the big overarching picture. That is every pattern and every lesson within your life is kind of honing this one path and direction for you. This can be a really good place to start, I think, when it comes to what am I good at? What are my skills? But when you dive into numerology, I read a really great book one time. I'm forgetting the name of it, but I will link it for you guys in the show notes. It really helped me decipher all the different bits and pieces. So who you are, the name you chose, there's some people who believe you actually choose your own name and it's not your parents choosing your name, but your name at birth, the date and time of your birth, all of this is so impactful to designing who you are as a human based on what was happening in the universe that moment that you were born and the name that you were given or chose. And so within numerology, what you can do is go in and interpret what those different aspects are. So there is um, your self-motivation versus your self-image or how you express yourself. Each of these different aspects of numerology are found within your name. And each letter correlates to a number and it comes down to a number and you get to kind of interpret. And this book that I read was so great because it really helped identify kind of different aspects of the struggles that I'd had or difficult relationships or different things that I was good at, but I thought everyone was good at. Like a lot of these different pieces kind of came together for me when I started looking into numerology. Now, I didn't go very deep with any one of these things, just, but perhaps I go deeper than most people do, but I don't consider myself an expert in astrology or numerology or even human design. I know a lot about all of them, but only because it makes people more interesting. And I think it's fascinating to see how different we all are from one another and how much you can tell from, they're like clues to me and it's like a puzzle. And so each of these different tools can be used to put another piece in the puzzle together. So anyways, when you're looking at numerology, there's a wealth of information that comes from just your name and your birthday, which I find super fucking interesting. So anyways, what else can I tell you about numerology? I'm a life path 1. That means that, if I remember correctly, essentially, my life is about learning to be independent and learning how to step into my ability to lead, which totally makes sense. When you look back at everything in my life, like, okay, hello, miss, I started out codependent and now I went to an extreme. Let me tell you, I'm the most independent person I know. But there's always a shadow side to everything is what I'll tell you. Anyway, so with numerology, it can help tell you what your life path is. Okay, but learning how to be a leader or learning how to be independent, mostly for me, that was within relationships, but that didn't really hone in on what the hell should I do with my life when it comes to creating a career, except that this book did that as well. So within it, it will tell you all these different ideas. And so for like every single option that there is, it would list 15 to 20 different career options or careers that you would be well suited for is really what it is. And when I first read that, I thought, well, yeah, I could do any of those. But it wasn't until I started reading other people's and I realized, oh, wait, I don't want to do any of those, that it really started to make sense for me. We always have free will and we get to choose. And we are just humans interpreting energy. So there's lots of options. In fact, the options are almost unlimited. So it gives you some clues and it gives you some hints and it kind of points you in the right direction. But from there, it is what you make of it. Numerology is the second thing that I wanted to tell you about today. And the last one, did I save the best for last? Maybe. I fucking love human design. I find this shit endlessly fascinating. I could spend hours a day, most days, researching human design. You would think I would know more about it by now, but I don't know. Here we are. But here's what I can tell you. There's a few different aspects. So again, go to the Google and it will tell you, just say human design, free chart, and you can input your birthday and it will pull back a chart. Again, looks like alien technology. When you get back this chart, it looks very different than the birth chart from astrology. But within this chart, there is so much information. It'll tell you what your subconscious patterns are. It will tell you what you're naturally good at. So the key things to keep in mind are your human design type. So I'm a manifesting generator. This is what it says about the Manny gens. That's the short version of manifesting generator because that is a tongue twister. the multi-hyphenate, multi-passionate people who are here to do and accomplish many diverse things. Well, if that doesn't describe me, I don't know what does. But when you go out and read the other types, you realize how vastly different we all are from one another. And within this human design, it will tell you your strategy. It'll tell you your authority, which is how you should be making your decisions. There are different aspects in here. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Here are the ones that I think you should pay attention to. Pay attention to your type. Pay attention to your strategy and your authority. And then look at your profile. So the profile is going to identify kind of your overall purpose. And if you look at the incarnation cross, that is your genius. That is what you are naturally good at. That is where you should focus. If you're trying to figure out what career you should be in or what your second phase is going to look like or what the second source of income is going to be, if you look at the incarnation cross, that is going to point you in the right direction. Guarantee it. And then what else is on here? Oh, your not self theme. I think that is probably the one piece of human design that I learned that I found the least interesting. However, it's the biggest indicator. So my not self theme is frustration. What are the other ones? Bitterness, anger, or there's one more I'm forgetting. Basically, that just tells you that whenever you are feeling that emotion, so when I'm frustrated, and for me, this isn't like, after some therapy, if you listen to my podcast with Jamie, we had a whole episode on therapy. And basically, that was our everybody needs therapy episode. But after loads and loads of therapy myself, what I can tell you is I say I am frustrated when sometimes I am, in fact, angry about a thing. But it's kind of my default source of feeling when shit is out of alignment. So for me, this not self theme, it's the telltale sign when I need to refocus. I need to realign. I'm not living according to my human design. I'm not living my life and making my choices in alignment with the way I was designed to do that. And this is what human design does for us. It even tells you like how you are best suited to eat food, which I think is oddly specific. But within human design, I mean, seriously, you could go super deep in all of the information that's there when you learn about the gates, and it aligns to the chakras within our body, well, and then some. So if you look at the human design chart, you'll notice that top to bottom, it's kind of representing the chakras. So crown, anja, throat. Anja is like the third eye. You've got the throat representing the throat chakra. You've got the G center, which is like the heart chakra. You've got the sacral, the root, and the solar plexus. Human design takes it a little further. There's an ego and a spleen aspect as well. Each of these, whether it's closed or open, means something. Within each of these sections that very closely align to chakras are gates. And within each of those gates, whether it's closed or open, will mean something for you. If there are channels that are highlighted, it will tell you so much information about you and how you function and how you operate in the world, how you engage with people. Within human design, it will tell you what you should be doing. So anyways, if I were to take a step back and simplify and tell you what things to focus on, I would say go get your free astrology birth chart. I would say look up your numerology and then go to human design and look at your profile and your incarnation cross. Looking at your type and your strategy and your authority is really just kind of how you're maneuvering in the world. If you're looking for your life purpose or your gifts, those are the places that I would focus. And here's what if I were to summarize it all and pull it back together, here's what I would tell you. You are going to see some themes across each of these three tools. So if astrology is your jam, great. Go deep, far, and wide in astrology. It may or may not be. Maybe numerology speaks more to you, and maybe it's human design. regardless, when you look at all three at that kind of high level view, you're going to see some similarities, and that allows you to kind of really hone in on what feels true, what resonates, and then you can focus. Or, throw the shit out the window if it makes no sense to you and you don't have any interest. Also, always an option. Anyhow, those have been 3 ways that I was able to really focus my efforts, give myself permission to be good at what I'm actually good at, and allowed me to really settle into how I interact with people and how I process information differently than other people. So I think it's a really helpful way to get closer to answering that initial question, which is, how do I monetize my gifts? First of all, you have to know what they are. Second, you have to know whether or not that's going to be your main stream of income or if it's a second stream of income. And then sometimes your gifts are just something that you're good at that brings you joy and doesn't earn you money at all. Also, always an option. But what I will tell you is that when you have the ability to monetize your gifts, it is the easiest path to allowing more money to come into your life. So it's a really easy way to learn how you can turn your gifts into a revenue source if you want to. So with that, my friends, I gave you a little spiritual woo-woo direction for figuring out the answers to some of your questions, perhaps. Like I said, I could talk all day long, every day about human design. So if you want to chat about human design or compare notes, ping me on Instagram, SimplyShaunna, and let's chat. As always, thank you for listening, for being with me as I share these random tidbits of information. My goal is always to help you fall in love and make more money. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend and send them a kind note. And wherever you are listening to your podcasts, go leave a review if you wouldn't mind and let us know what you think. I will talk to you all soon. Have a great week. Enjoy your Tuesday. So whether you want to write a book, start a new business, or just put one foot in front of the other after divorce, the very first step you must take is to find your center, to align with who you really are. The way to do that is to find your very own perfect balance between body, mind, and spirit. Are you ready to figure that out for yourself? Pop on over to SimplyShaunna.com/align to gain access to my signature program. In just 45 minutes, you'll learn all you need to know to create your own plan to find your center. Align is the program name. Find it under services at SimplyShaunna.com.